do you believe in keeping up with certifications such as NASM, but not just NASM, any certifications?
You want to start?
Yeah, I mean, we could make this either really long or really short. There are many ways we could go with it. I would say generally our thought processes on certifications are, they're not inherently worthless. There are some benefits to some certifications. Obviously, some are better than others, but here's what I would say. If you're a brand new coach and you don't know where to begin with education, I think some certifications can be a really good idea. Just to give you a base level of knowledge and start learning terminology and understanding, okay, this is where to begin.
Do you have a recommendation or a few that you would recommend?
I mean, from a nutrition perspective, I've always been a huge fan of Precision Nutrition. I'm also biased because that was the first one that I ever got outside of school, outside of college education. And I think they did a really good job. And from what I've heard, they've continued to do a good job. But sort of along this line, I've never re-upped my certification with Precision Nutrition. I've never paid to continue to be certified through them. Mm-hmm. So to answer the actual question, no, I wouldn't pay to continue to be re-upping a certification. But if there's a certain type of skill or there's something that that this group is advertising as a skill you want to learn, I definitely see benefit in doing a certification in order to learn more about that methodology. Personally, honestly, here's what I would say is probably better than certification. And this is also this is a different option than interning. A lot of what we say is go intern somewhere, but not everyone has that opportunity or the time. So in my experience, what I found to be better than a certification is working with a coach who's doing what you want to do. So like when I'm trying to learn mobility stuff, I hire a mobility coach who's really good at that mobility stuff so I can see what they're doing. I can ask them direct questions. Why did you program this way? What are your cues you're using for this exercise? How are you progressing this? I hired Alex Viato when I wanted to learn more about a lot of like cardio-based training, zone 2 training, high intensity style training. I've hired coaches who are experts in the field that I want to become more of an expert in. That for me is actually better than a certification. Because the certification usually it's not individualized. It's just in a textbook. It's a lot of theoreticals. Whereas working with a coach, like this is practical. This is exactly what we're doing. This is how we're going to adjust it for you. And you can see how the coach responds, how they act, what they're doing as a coach, and how you might implement that within your own systems. So I think certifications, some of them can be wonderful, but if you have the opportunity, I would just say take that money and put it into hiring that coach.
I think that's great advice. And there's something to be said about going through the process yourself that will make the information stickier. If we had a spectrum of stickiness, meaning how well you retain that information, I think doing it yourself is at the far end of heightened retention. Yep. I actually think a certification, if we move across that spectrum, is somewhere in the middle, right? I think testing is a decent way to learn because you're both reading and consuming the information or watching video tutorials, courses, and then you get tested on that material. So it forces you to actually study it and retain it at least for a period of time. And then if you move further on that spectrum, I would say simply consuming the information without being tested on it, at least in my experience, leads to a little bit less retention. Mm-hmm. And so I agree with, everything that you just said. I think a traditional certification, and you mentioned PN for nutrition, the NSCA or NASM have great personal training certifications. Those are a good place to start for a new coach. I think I renewed CPUs once and either 0 or 1 time. And after that, the bulk of my knowledge outside of working with people in person, which again, we talk about internship, we talk about training clients in person, is unbelievably important. Outside of doing it yourself, whether that's working with a coach who specializes or being more self-taught, beyond those two, I have always found research reviews to be the best place to get new and updated information, especially as new things happen in science, new studies come out, reading summaries of that new evidence, which, usually leads to slight changes in position, not massive changes. But that's the way that I have found the most efficient and effective and has worked best for me in terms of staying up to date on the research over the years after that first 1 to 3 year window.
Yeah. Research reviews are amazing.